When was that out? Was it today?
Yeah, that was a news story from yesterday. And there was an 86-year-old lady. She above in New Ross. She had her house raided by the guards on the 12th of November 2020 last year.
Yeah,
And they found €50 worth of cannabis in her house, and they brought her to court for it. And
I didn't know.
yeah,
Jesus Christ.
and she was up in court then for it, and the judge made her give a €100 donation to the charity box so that he would strike the case out.
Jesus, that's
Yeah,
unreal.
yeah,
86.
86 years of age, and you have to imagine, when they carry out raids, they don't do them in small numbers either. There was at least five guards probably going to go into that old lady's house and, carry out a raid like that, go through all of, as JP from Little Collins learned, they go through your underwear drawers and everything. They leave no stone unturned, like, yeah, yeah. They really invade your privacies, like. Right, the stream is back up and running there now at the moment. I think I see some comments coming in there as well. Um, no, you're good, guys. I see Monsieur and Skatanist out there. They're worried that they missed some of our conversation that we might have been talking without them. Um, but
No,
yeah, we've been just sorting out the technical issues here, guys. We haven't been really doing much talking. Just yeah, we're trying to keep the juicy bits for yourselves. um, So, Alicia, thanks very much, look, for taking time out of your evening. Let's have a chat before your plumber comes along and steals you away from us.
I
Um,
know.
Alicia, it's a pleasure to have you back on the podcast. Actually, it's been over a year since we last talked. Actually, it was at the special that we done for Support Unpunished last year that we last kind of had you on as a guest. So, welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
No
I can't
problem.
believe it's been a year already.
Yeah, it flies, it really is. And there's been a lot happened since then, but unfortunately not what we've wanted to see happen. There's definitely been a big building of our community now of supporters, of campaigners, a calling for change. But still, unfortunately, we are being ignored by the people in power. Just to confirm, I suppose, since your last correspondence with Stephen Donnelly and Luke or Frank Fian, you've got no more correspondence from them.
No, so the correspondence that I got was literally just copied and pasted off the internet. I got the exact same email from the two of them one day apart.
Yeah,
So I was like, this is obviously bullshit. So I wrote back and I said to them, you haven't answered any of my questions, um, which is absolutely unacceptable. And I haven't heard anything back since. And I've still been sending the same email that I sent them at the start to try to get the questions answered, but absolutely nothing, nothing back at all.
jeez, that's terrible, really. When all things considered, when they're out there at the moment, I suppose, and we'll get to the health committee stage in a bit. But saying that there's not enough evidence to support the use of cannabis as a medicine, and here you're a prime candidate, to be used, as a person who could further this understanding as to how cannabis works. They're not engaging with you at all. And at the other hand, they're saying, oh, there's not enough evidence. But meanwhile, that's why there's not enough evidence. They're not engaging with the people who they could be gathering the evidence with in support of other patients out there then who might come down the road, because there will be more patients come down the road who require it, especially for chronic pain, it seems.
Yeah, it's true. They're not engaging at all. Like, the way on the medical cannabis access program, they're supposed to be monitoring patients and stuff like that. But there's nothing like that for people that hold the ministerial license at all. So, like, I haven't even seen my consultant since January 2020. He knows absolutely nothing about, how I'm getting on, whether it's
Yeah,
working for the pain or anything. There's absolutely no follow-up at all, which
yeah.
is ridiculous.
I,
Now,
I,
my GP does email me all the time. He's really good. How
that's
are we
nice.
getting on? How are you getting on with the clinic that you're getting it from and different strains and stuff. He's absolutely brilliant, but it's supposed to be consultant led then at the same time, but they're collecting no data whatsoever. Like, so I'm just after falling out of the system and it's like I don't even exist anymore. That's her gone, that's it. And that's
Yeah,
probably a reason that they don't want to prescribe it for chronic pain, because the pain consultants are going to lose out. Like, I used to get like operations on my back every 3 to 4 months. I haven't had a single operation since November 2019, and I haven't taken painkillers since around the same time again.
Jeez.
So
And all
all
of that
this
would have been
information.
afforded to you by the HSE here as well. That you wouldn't have been paying for that out of your own pocket as you would
No,
be expected with cannabis currently.
yeah, no, it was all covered on my medical card. And I mean, like, I wrote to the chemist afterwards that I used GoTo to get all the tablets dispensed because it was like 900 tablets a month, and then 2 boxes of like pain patches and stuff. And I asked them how much would my prescription cost, and it actually turns out that my prescription for cannabis is less than the cost of the prescription for the opioids and the patches that I used
Wow.
to be on. And I wrote to Stephen Donnelly and told him it's literally saving them money.
Hmm.
And of course, I didn't get anything back.
Yeah, just comparing it to the medicine, it's like or the other medicines, it's cheaper. But then when you actually compound in the savings they'd make, but you're not requiring all those surgeries and things like that, it's even more cost beneficial there actually to have cannabis available for people who suffer with chronic pain. And that's the case there as well of Ryan Fowler, Pamela Barnes' son, who suffers with the tumor in his shoulder, Gardner syndrome, I think it's called. But he as well, he's since he got access to cannabis to treat that chronic pain, he's not required any of those kind of hospital visits that he used to always be requiring before to manage his pain. So
Yeah. Jesus.
when they talk about evidence, like there's evidence there in many forms. There's a number of patients here. Vera, the last time I talked to Vera, I heard the exact same thing that you just said there, is that I can't remember the last time I seen the consultant. Like we barely see him. And that's just scary to think, that there's a patient out there on such experimental medicine, and the consultant is not actually even engaging with them then. There really is a lot of questions to be asked here of the people in charge, responsible for patients' health and care, as to why they're not doing the best effort that they can to help the patients get access. Cannabis, when you look at it compared to other medicines, it's relatively safe. And it is like for chronic pain, it's over 70% of the people with private prescriptions in the UK, that's chronic pain.
Yeah, that's it. It's the same in the USA as well. Over 2/3 of them
Yeah,
prescriptions for chronic pain. Yeah, but they're just completely ignoring it here. Like I don't get it at all.
yeah,
It's crazy.
it makes no sense at all. And I suppose why I got you on then this evening is this morning's health committee's discussion on the medical cannabis access program, or as I've been liking to call it now, it's more of the prevention to access to medical cannabis program with the way they're actually setting it up. Like some of the things there that they've put in place, there's no other requirements like that for the medications, and that was brought up. I think it was David Cullinane with Sinn Féin. He asked that
Yeah,
question, like, is this required of any other medicines? And the long and short of it was, no, not at all.
it's absolutely ridiculous. And even I probably shouldn't even have a license in the first place, because they said one of the requirements there today was that there's like a doctor-patient relationship
Mhm.
over many years for patients to actually get the license, that the consultant must know them. The consultant that I met that actually applied for the license for me, it was the first time I ever met him. So he knew absolutely nothing about me apart from what I told him that day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it seems
So
like before the medical cannabis access program, it was probably actually easier for patients to get access through their consultant, because now the consultant actually with the medical cannabis access program, they have to have all of these kind of requirements that are put in them, such as like they have to have like the desired outcomes for it, the process in which and how they're going to monitor those outcomes. Do you know what to do if the patient isn't reaching those outcomes? How do you taper the patient off the medications? All of these different requirements that have to be in place before the patient even starts the medicine. It's like, of course the consultants aren't going to want to be working with this medicine when they can literally go get your morphine patches and there you go, send you on out the door, and there's nothing else they get to do. They get their check at the end of the month or whatever they get paid for their patients, and it's easy for them. Whereas medical cannabis is like, I have to do this now and I have to do that, and it's so much harder, and I get the same pay as if I was to give them morphine patches. So you can see,
that's
like,
it. Like, what was his name? Doctor or Professor Brian Lynch?
Brian Lynch, yeah, that's right.
He was on about the paperwork that was associated with it, and he was saying, yeah, it's a lot more work that we're going to have to do for each individual patient. But you're right, like they'd probably just prefer, here's your tablets and feck off, like, do you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
And,
Yeah.
and, and how do you feel about that, I suppose, having gone through the process now? Because I think it was it Nessa Horgan with the Green Party. she asked that question. Actually, it was about how the requirement to exhaust all of the conventional medicines before you get access to cannabis as a medicine. Like, how do you feel about that requirement in the medical cannabis access program, having experienced all of those other medications that are there compared to cannabis?
I don't even know if they took that into account in my case, because what they actually wanted me to do was for a final treatment to have a morphine box put in my stomach, right? So I was like, that was one of the final things that I was offered. So I said to them, Jesus Christ, like I'm in my 30s, I have a colostomy bag on one side of my stomach. I hardly want a morphine box on the other side. But when it came to it, I don't think I exhausted 5 medications even, you know. They knew that I was getting surgery every 3 months, but it's absolutely ridiculous that people actually have to suffer through the side effects of the opioids, and you do fucking suffer from the side effects of them,
Yeah.
um, just so that they can access something that is not just relatively safer, clearly safer, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
you
I think,
started even getting it on the black market where it wasn't even regulated and controlled. And in your experience, like how did that compare? That was still beneficial for you, was it not?
yeah, most of the time it worked out the exact same. So I started on the vape that I got from America. But then when I wasn't able to get it anymore, I just decided to buy it illegally.
Yeah,
Most of the time it actually worked grand, like, but sometimes then I bought some and it was absolute shit. And you could just tell by looking at it, I wouldn't even smoke it. Like it was brown and it looked like it was already burned. But that's when we decided then, like, there's no way that I can keep this up. You're paying €50 for like 3 grams of shit, and then you have to dump it and go get another €50 worth. It just wasn't sustainable at all.
yeah, it's definitely not sustainable at all. The prices here in Ireland are ridiculous, all because of prohibition. Like I was only
That's
talking about it on the previous stream. Like even over in the clubs in Spain and stuff, that sometimes you get to avail of a happy hour, where it's like buy 1 gram
Yeah,
get one
we have
free
them
or
here as
something.
well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, you get 2 grams for the price of one.
Get two for the price of one. That's a brilliant offer. I definitely don't see anybody over there doing that anytime soon. Anyway.
No.
Yeah. And like the cannabis that you're getting access to over there as well, it's grown by clubs, collectives. It's not by any big kind of like pharmaceutical organization with like highly rigorous standards and regulations in place. It's literally by like a collective bunch of people coming together and doing it for a private kind of use. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So instead of um instead of just buying your cannabis, you don't technically pay for like you pay your membership for the year. Um in some of the clubs, and then you get your cannabis out of it. But they just grow strains that people want them to grow. So now I don't really have a say because I didn't know at the time speaking Spanish and stuff like that. But they pick the strains between them, and then they grow that one, and usually have a choice of about 7 or 8 strains.
Yeah.
Which is good. And they range then from about €6 up to about €10 per gram.
Jeez. And so your ability as a patient over there in Spain to access cannabis, it's incredibly easy, really. Although it's still not like, are you working with any health professionals over there at the moment, in Spain? Are you working with like people the likes of the Kappa Clinic or anything like that?
No, I am actually getting it delivered though from a cannabis wellness center in Madrid.
Okay.
So that started during the pandemic. So in March 2020, all the clubs closed down,
Yeah.
and it was only supposed to be for 2 weeks,
Hmm.
but they actually ended up staying closed for 3 months. But I was put in touch then with a clinic up in Madrid, which is like hours away from us, and they asked me just could I send them my prescription, and then they said that they'd add me as a patient. There was no charges or anything like that, but they took me on as a patient on a discretionary basis because they knew I was stuck here and that I genuinely had chronic pain. But they've done it ever since. So I just go online every month and send them my prescription, then go onto their website, order the cannabis, and within 2 days it's delivered to my front door.
As easy as that. That's
Yeah,
that's
and it's
handy.
only €7 a gram.
And it's only €7 a gram too. That's pretty cheap. I think in Ireland, how much was your quote? You were getting quoted a bit more than some of the other patients, I believe. Was it your price per gram was a bit higher?
It
Uh,
was over €20 at the start. Now I think it's actually after going down since then.
okay, yeah,
I was speaking to Miriam Haskins. I'm not sure if she gets the same Bedrocan I was on, but she said the price of her prescription has dropped a lot
yeah.
in the last couple of months.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, and how did you feel about hearing the health committee earlier on their discussion? For a good part of it was worrying about the illegal use of medical cannabis, leakage into the hands of people who don't deserve it. I don't know how they were kind of putting it.
Yeah.
When you think about like how difficult it actually is to get access to it as a patient, and for them to be up there worrying about it falling into people's hands who don't deserve it, and considering how easy it is to actually get cannabis illegally here.
It's actually easier to get cannabis illegally
E-
than it is to get it on the medical cannabis access program. The other thing
exactly.
about that is, right, is there's one product on the access program at the
Hmm.
moment, cannabis. It's CBD based. So they're actually worried that people are going to get their hands on a bottle of CBD.
Yeah, I
Do
know
you know what I
it.
mean?
It's so
They
funny.
actually don't have a clue, like.
Yeah, well, I would say it's so funny, but it's actually not. It's actually so sad when it comes down to it, because these people just haven't a notion up there as to what they're doing or what they're talking about. Again, look how long cannabis has been available in other places in the world. Say I think as early as '99 it was available in California. To
Yeah.
date,
Well,
nobody has died as a result of access to medical cannabis. Nobody has overdosed. There's been no, like, if there's been any severe adverse events, we would have heard about them. They would have been publicising them in the media, but we don't hear about them because they're so infrequent. There's little to no severe adverse events for people. Not going to say that there's none, but there's certainly few and far between anyway. They're pretty rare. Um,
yeah.
and meanwhile, there's all of these restrictions put in place. Like you could go out and get was it the geez, those lollipops? What's that? Fentanyl lollipops that they're
Oh,
giving out.
really?
Yeah, yeah, I think it's like fentanyl lollipops they've been giving out. And oxycodone as well is becoming a bit more of a thing over here in Ireland as well.
Yeah.
So the
Huge in America, wasn't it?
yeah, that's it. Like, it's becoming more of a problem here in Ireland. But meanwhile, it's like we're just focused on cannabis. It's like the I don't know. It's like the demon that they want to focus on. It's like take all the attention away from the other really actual problematic drugs, such as again oxycodone and some of the other incredibly addictive opiate-based medications
Yeah.
versus
Yeah.
cannabis. Like, would you ever describe yourself as being addicted to cannabis?
No, definitely not. I I used to ask my doctor all the time, like my GP, am I addicted to the opioids? And he'd say, no, you're not addicted to them. You're just your body is dependent on them.
Yeah.
But I actually couldn't go more than 4 hours without them because I'd have the shakes. Like I'd be
Yeah.
dying in pain in the first place. But the withdrawal symptoms were just so severe. But I could get up in the morning, and if my pain isn't that bad, I mightn't smoke until 4 or 5 o'clock. You
Yeah.
know, so absolutely nothing compared to the opioids. I don't think it's addictive. I actually don't like.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you there. I would compare it to something akin to coffee or even playing soccer. It's something that if you enjoy doing, it's going to bring you back to do it again, because
Yeah,
you enjoy doing it. And there's very little negative attachments to the way to doing it. Despite maybe in which the way in which you do it, I would always say you can reduce harms by maybe vaporizing instead of smoking, things like that.
I know I should do that. I know the addictive part of it for me is obviously the tobacco. Like, yeah,
Or would you use it with tobacco? You do. But
I
would you
do.
smoke cigarettes anyway?
No,
Oh, you don't smoke cigarettes anyway.
no, I gave up smoking for about 7 years, and
Okay.
I only took it up again when I was like 35, the first time I ever tried cannabis. So,
Ah, no. You see that this is another side effect of prohibition is people consuming cannabis with tobacco. It's like it's this thing that I don't know. I think it's only ever really there because of hash in the European sense. We used to have a lot of hash here, so the best way to smoke hash was with tobacco. Then
yeah,
along came cannabis, and sure, it was just a case of taking out the hash and putting in the cannabis. Now keeping the tobacco in place. Whereas in America, where they for a long time had access to cannabis, they don't have this cultural use of tobacco and cannabis. It's just cannabis they put in there. They smoke a
yeah,
lot smaller and a lot less. And again, I definitely think the addictive qualities there are a lot less than when you don't mix it with tobacco, because nicotine definitely is. It'll get a tux in you a lot more than cannabis can anyway.
yeah, definitely. I did try vaping it before and the dry herb vaporizer, but I didn't find that it worked as well
Mm.
as when I smoked it. So it's just when I'm in pain, I know that if I smoke it, it'll be gone in like 5 minutes. So I just,
Yeah.
it's still better, I think, than the opioids. I don't know.
Have you got to try? I don't know. Did I ask you this last time? Did you get to try the volcano at all? The volcano
No,
vaporizer?
no, no,
Ah,
there's no, they don't like the only thing that they do here really is, well, where I am is the just buying weed. There's no such thing as vape in it, or they don't even know what vaporizers are. Like I brought a
no.
vape cartridge into the club with me, the one with the oil that I got from America, and I asked them, "Oh, do you do these?" And they were like, "What is it?" I was like, "Cannabis." They were like, "No, they'd never even seen it before." So
Ah,
it, it's really far behind here in that respect.
yeah.
But I'm just happy that I can actually get it. You know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I would highly recommend checking out the volcano. If smoking gives you the most relief, and the other vaporizers you tried didn't provide that relief, I definitely think the volcano can give you that quick turnover in relief in treating your symptoms, because
Yeah,
it fills up this bag full of vapors. It's unlike any of the other kind of handheld vaporizers. Like really, they don't rival this thing at all. Like it's in a league of its own. And honestly, out of all of them I've tried, it's definitely up there. But the only thing about it, it's a desktop version. Like you have to plug it in somewhere. You can't
yeah.
carry it around with you.
Is it expensive to buy it?
It is a bit of a pricey bit of a gadget as well, but it's a very worthwhile investment. Considering I have my one now for almost 8 or 9 years, I'd say.
Yeah,
Paid about €400 for it. So again,
right.
over 10 years, hopefully I'll get out of it. That'll be €40 a year.
Yeah, that's brilliant actually when you think of it like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's German made, so it's definitely going to stand the test of time. Fingers crossed I don't jinx myself now. I'll pack in the next time I turn it on. uh, But I suppose just to go back to the health committee this morning, your own feelings on it. Do you have any like thoughts or expressions that you'd like to get out there to the wider audience in regard to as a patient how you were affected by that?
I know I said on Facebook I was disappointed, but I was fucking infuriated listening to it. It was so hard to listen to. It was awful. And
Yeah,
the worst thing is then, like, the people that are supposed to be in charge of implementing the program don't have a clue. Like, you won Laurie Nolan.
Maureen Nolan.
Nolan?
Yeah, with the
She's the
HPRA, she's a
chief
chief
executive
executive. Yeah,
of the HRA. And we're supposed to be following this program that Denmark have implemented. She didn't
yeah,
even know how long the program was running in Denmark. She said it was something like over 5 years when it's only been 3. And then she also said as well, she didn't even know whether it was a consultant or a GP that needed to apply in Denmark. Now, GPs can apply for it in Denmark.
yeah.
Here you can't. So they're clearly not following that program at all. Like,
No.
you know?
Do you think that they knew and they just didn't want to acknowledge that they're not actually following the program? Because like that seems like a vital piece of information to know about a medical cannabis program in another country, whether a consultant or GP can prescribe it.
I
Considering,
think she was just bluffing. That was a major
yeah,
part of it, like whether your GP or a consultant can prescribe. Because if GPs could prescribe in Ireland, I think there'd be way more people that would get access.
yeah,
Um,
I
just under the ministerial license route, even. But she didn't have a clue, and I'm thinking you're hardly following that program if you don't even know who can prescribe it. Like,
yeah. I
um,
was down doing the shopping with my great uncle and I was bloody shouting at the phone going around. I had the headphones on and I was just like, the GPs can prescribe it. Like I didn't even have to go look it up. I knew this myself
no,
even without looking it up. And as
yeah,
well, yeah, I think you pointed out as well that they even got the years in which that they could prescribe it wrong. They said 5 years and it was a bit less.
they
So
put out 3. I think the program is only running for the last 3 years. So
yeah,
yeah, I think they're just completely bluffing. I really do. There's no way that they're following that. Like, plus they have like 4 or 5 products, um,
yeah.
whereas we now only have one, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, and also I believe over there they actually allow it for chronic pain too. They don't kind of have this kind of exclusive conditions that can apply. It's like if your GP can condone the use of it for that condition, then it's like yeah, why not? Like because
Yeah,
again, like when it comes down to it, I think, and that was the question asked by Nessa. It was how putting that requirement in place interferes with the health professional's ability to provide the best treatment possible for the patient. You know, if that
it's true. Yeah,
if that GP or consultant, you know, believed that okay, I have Alicia here in front of me, I believe cannabis is going to be great for her. She seems like a prime candidate. I don't want to try her out on these other opiates first. I would like to try cannabis first. Like, they're taking away that ability from that health professional who should know, the right from wrong. It's like, the government, they're almost playing big daddy here. They're parenting us again. Parenting the consultants and how they do their job.
That's it, yeah. Like my GP now, I've been with him since I was 4. So what's that, like 32
Yeah.
years? He knows everything about me. He actually applied for the license twice himself without a consultant, because he didn't believe that a consultant should have to apply for it, because I didn't have a consultant at the time. So he was thinking, I'm going to get a new consultant that doesn't know me at all. Whereas he's been my doctor for 30 odd years. So he kept applying, saying that he thought it was a waste of resources,
Yeah.
that they needed a consultant to apply, because he knew me as a patient, where the next consultant wouldn't know me at all. And they just kept writing back and saying, no, until she has the consultant, we won't give her the license. So he thought it was ridiculous. He put in a complaint, which is kind of strange, because he's actually on the board of the HPRA.
Okay. So you
Yeah.
put in a complaint to the HPRA. And was
Yeah.
there ever any feedback from that? Do you know?
No, nothing at all.
Jeez, what a pathetic bunch, really, up there. Like, when you hear about them up there talking about trying to act in the interest of the public. But again, it was even pointed out when they were referring to the cannabis, it was like in societal interest. It wasn't even in like the interest of patients. It was in societal interest, as if it was going to be bad for society to allow cannabis as a medicine. AKA effect. I think that they showed their cards there at that point in saying that, look, we're actually more interested in protecting the prohibition of cannabis than we are as implementing it as a medicine. We have to keep up this freaking, cannabis is a demon drug. It's a problematic drug. It's gonna, it's gonna corrupt our young people. It's not this thing that's gonna sort out your nanny's sciatica or something like that.
Yeah. That's it. Like my doctor said the same. Well, he was like, he doesn't demonize it at all like they do. He just said when he became a doctor, he swore an oath to do no harm. He saw the harm that opioids were causing me, and he saw the difference when I had come off half of them and was just using cannabis. And he just can't believe that hardly any doctors are willing to prescribe it at all. Like, it's shocking.
Yeah, I definitely think that there is a serious need to overhaul the system. There's some good people working within it, but it's a broken system that they're working within, and unfortunately, it was corrupted over the years. Cannabis, it's been like one of the only plants that I can see that was actually removed out of some of the pharmacopoeias that had like information on its medicinal use is actually removed from some of the reference points that would have been there. At a critical point too, in which when it could have been studied and further understood back in the kind of the 30s and the 40s, instead they were trying to bury any information that supported it, and now here we are. Like that is it is the American herbal pharmacopoeia and the British herbal pharmacopoeia. They were had the cannabis monographs removed from, and here we are now, 80 years later, and we're like people like yourself removed from your home, you're stuck over another country. But there's a massive movement going on there behind you. Just wish that the government, could get caught up in it and do a little in their own part to make the change that we're calling for. Like, we're after making that 2,000 kilometers now, and you've been following this, so you're probably well aware of that. But we've made it to Alicante, and I think we're on the journey back now.
Really? Have that many been done? Really?
I reckon so. I've seen a lot of kilometers. A lot of people are doing a lot more than 2 kilometers out there. So and there's people bringing groups out with them as well. So when I was looking at it, I kind of doing a rough estimate of the numbers. We're about 2,500 kilometers there now at the moment. So as I say, we're on the journey back now and all. So
brilliant. And I have to say thanks so much, Martin, for organising it.
No
Absolutely
problem.
brilliant idea.
Yeah.
It was brilliant.
Yeah,
my husband is out cycling another 100 kilometers. I think he really wants to send me home.
No, excellent. I think that there's a lot of people out there who really want that for you as well, because that video you with your parents, the reunification of the family there, like I'm not gonna lie, like there was somebody cutting onions around me that day, and I was like, lads, I'm trying to watch a video here, like, come on. But it was great to see that. There was a lot of happiness in enjoying that video, but it's unfortunate that behind that then there's a lot of sadness, because when your parents are probably gone home now again, so you've like had this piece of you again, like fucking unfortunately torn away.
Yeah, and it's so sad. Like I've 7 nieces, and 2 nephews, and they're all under the age of 11. So I think the oldest few know that I've come to access medication and stuff like that, and they're fine with it. But the rest of them don't really understand. And like 2 years, we're 2 months away now from being 2 years here, and the difference. Oh, I feel sad now. I start crying.
Sorry. And take your time, anyways, no rush.
Just seeing the difference in them compared to when I left,
Yeah.
it's really sad.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. No, take your time there. No, I can definitely feel that as well. I think it's incredibly upsetting what's been done there to people like yourself, people like Vera as well, because Vera had to leave Ireland as well.
Yeah.
Yvonne Callan, and another a campaigner, I suppose, for her son, she also had to leave Ireland. So you're not alone in this. Like the government really, they've a lot to answer for here, because they've caused a lot of undue suffering. This has been going on for far too long, and we're still having these discussions in health committees where they're asking, is there enough evidence? There's not enough evidence. But meanwhile, look at the lives that have been changed and turned around and benefited like so greatly from accessing cannabis.
Yeah.
And
And it's
then,
bullshit. The evidence is there, but they're actually choosing to ignore it. Because I'm doing my PhD in the same thing, in the regulation of cannabis for medical purposes in Ireland. So
yeah,
part of what I do is just look up all the medical journals, get as much evidence as I can, and it's actually there. Like I listed it all on my Facebook today and everything, the evidence that they used in their report in 2017. And yet they turned around today and said the evidence isn't there. But
yeah,
even in the report that they did, the Lauren Nolan one, the report that
hmm,
she did in 2017 said that cannabis is the most researched indication. Chronic pain is the most researched indication for cannabis. It's written there in black and white. I actually had to check it today just to double check that I didn't like dream up that I read it.
yeah,
But there it is. And then they come out today, when was it, 2017, 4 years later, and say there's no evidence. There's not enough evidence.
yeah,
There's
definitely,
actually more evidence for chronic pain than there is for epilepsy, than there is for MS, and then there is for cancer. So it's complete bullshit. Like I think it's the pharmaceutical companies. It has to be like this whole thing about cannabis being made available into the community, ridiculous. It's
yeah.
not going to. I don't see that happening at all. People that are going to get it are going to get the amount of grams that they need per month, and they're not going to
Hmm.
be wanting to be selling their medication.
No.
And it's also going to be a consultant that they know, So
Yeah, but they're saying that as if cannabis isn't already ubiquitous in our communities. It's everywhere. Like there's young fellas literally selling it, like 15, 16. They're selling it on Instagram, Snapchat, and the likes of it. And here we have these guys in the health committee like worried about leakage, and we're like, no, guys, actually, there's patients getting it from fucking kids on the street. Like literally, like there's
I
patient.
was buying it from kids on the street. My
There,
medication, do you know what I mean?
there you go. Like, so it's
It's
the reverse we
ridiculous.
need to be worried about. It's just like getting these patients who are actually leak onto the black market, actually get them into the legitimate side of things and help them, give them quality assurance, give them all of the protections that are supposed to be provided to patients.
Yeah.
It's, oh, it just really annoys me at this stage. Like, sorry about that there. Yeah, Ferg, nice one, Ferg, getting a bit of support there and from the show. Nice one for that. But Alicia, I suppose yourself, but where do we go from here now? It's November. You're going to be in Alicante 2 years. That's right, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm really like just I'm always thinking as to how we can go forward from here, and to continue to raise awareness. You know, this campaign that we're doing currently, it's great. We're seeing a lot of interest, a lot of people engaging with it. But still, you know, Frank Fian, as much as he likes walking and stuff, he didn't seem to like our campaign. He hasn't
No,
acknowledged it at all. Neither is
not
Stephen,
at all.
and neither is Stephen Donnelly either. It would have been nice to acknowledge the uptick in participation for their National Walking Day that we got from there as well.
Or
Uh,
took over, I think.
we pretty much did, yeah. He might have abandoned that day.
Yeah. He didn't vote afterwards, I don't think, did he?
No, I didn't see anything
No.
from him at all. No, I think he might have retweeted something else, but he didn't put up any posts of his own anyway.
No. No. It would have been bombarded, I'd say. I would have put up every single picture. What I did actually is I set up an Instagram to collect all the pictures of people walking.
Yeah,
Just so we could add them all up in the same place. But it's taken me days to put them all up. So I emailed all the people that were on the health committee this morning, and I
excellent.
sent them the last email that I sent Stephen Donnelly. Now it's really long, it's about 5 pages because it includes like all my medical history and everything like that. But I told them that I've been emailing Stephen Donnelly, Frank Fane, and that they're completely ignoring me. So if they could give me any advice on what to do next, or if there's any way that they could help me, just please let me know what I should be doing. Like, I honestly, besides that, I don't even know what I can do.
Yeah,
I think this campaign has been the best thing so far, for raising awareness.
excellent. Well, we'll keep it going anyway. We'll keep on getting it out there, and we'll keep running it right up until Sunday. So we'll give people the full week to get involved, because it was very short notice, and I apologise for doing it in short notice. I wasn't actually aware of National Walking Day until I seen Frank Fane get nominated as the ambassador, and I was like, this is a great actual campaign. I was like, because I did 420 kilometers myself in the month of May for the Laura Lynn Children's Hospice. So I managed to raise like €950 there in the month of May, doing 420 kilometers. Myself and my daughter done it together. She cycled, I jogged. But it was great. Got great support out there as well from for the campaign, but also raising awareness for medical cannabis while doing it too, because I definitely believe that there's a use for medical cannabis in palliative care for helping people who really need that just that extra bit of care there in order to give them an extra bit of quality of life, because some of the medications that they use, they really take away from that quality of life of patients. So that's why I tied those two together. But then once I seen Frank Fane get nominated as the ambassador, I was just like, there's no way I can do 2,000 kilometers alone. But then I was just like, we could do it together. 1,000 people, 2 kilometers each is kind of how I pictured it. Nice, easy, nice round numbers. But once we got started, then people were like doing 10 kilometers here, 8 kilometers there. I was like, this is great.
I'm walking out the second day, even though I hadn't even asked them. They were like still doing it. So
yeah. Because even in that, I suppose, because we're walking in one sense to bring you home, but also in that, like, cannabis for you would have given you that ability back. You were saying that you were like stuck in a couch before on some of these other medications. You probably weren't able to even get up, and you were saying that even just laughing at things was a bit of a difficulty. You were finding it that difficult to get the enjoyment out of life again. So cannabis has given you your abilities back to get up and walk and take charge of your life again, has it not?
Yeah, the side effects were, I can't even explain how bad they were. Like at the start, when I started taking the tablets, it was okay. But then when it came up to like 30 a day, then the really bad side effects. Like I used to leave the house, take 10 steps, start crying with the pain, even though I was taking that much medication, and my husband would just have to bring me back in home again, lie on the couch. And that happened like a couple of times a week, because I really wanted to get out and do stuff, at the same time. But I just couldn't. And then because I was taking so many different types of tablets, it affected my breathing as well. That was one of the scariest parts, and started losing my memory when I was reading stuff.
Jeez.
I had to be helped shower and everything. It was absolutely horrible. Do you know what I'll do, actually? I'm going to send you a picture. You won't even believe, when I look at it now, I'd be nearly crying. Like, but it's a picture of when I was taking the tablets. I only have one because I didn't take pictures of myself back then.
Yeah.
But you can see in my eyes that I was just completely out of it. But since switching to the cannabis, then, like, I don't walk that much because I don't like it. But I started going to aqua fitness and cycling and doing all stuff like that. And I mean, I didn't cycle since I was about 10. So it's absolutely brilliant. But I can get up every morning, right? And even if I have, say, a 9 out of 10 pain from lying the same way, within 5 minutes, I can just smoke the pain away. It's incredible. Like, and I grew up thinking, oh my God, cannabis is bad. I never did it growing up or anything like that. First time I ever smoked it, I was 35. So
yeah,
I still can't believe how well it works for the pain.
Yeah, that's it. Your first use of it was for treating your chronic pain. That's an important one to get out there for people as well. Because I think that statement by Lorraine Horgan, or Nolan, sorry, Lorraine Nolan from the HBRA, talking about the societal, is it in the societal interest to implement the medical cannabis access program? It really goes to show, that they were thinking from that kind of standpoint, the dangers of cannabis preventing access to people, because people want to get access to abuse it. But like here, you again, you had no interest in cannabis only until
No.
you were suffering with chronic pain. You're just like, you didn't care, like, you know. But meanwhile, these people who are in charge of the program to look after people such as yourself, they'll almost like put that stigma on you as a cannabis consumer. Because would you feel that, I suppose, if you were to be talking to a person saying, "Oh, I use cannabis to treat my chronic pain," would you almost feel like that person is thinking, "Yeah, chronic pain, is it?" You know, would you ever get that feeling when talking with anybody?
I thought about it at the start when I started. I didn't want to tell anybody. And then I was like, no, fuck this. And it's actually the opposite. Like over here now where we are in Spain,
Hmm.
there's much older community here, you know, but they were all our friends. And then I told them about the cannabis and my medical conditions, and they were just like, couldn't believe it, you know, and they all support it. Now, you probably saw all the videos and the walks from all our older friends here. They're in their 70s and 80s, and they're all walking to support the campaign.
Brilliant.
But no, I was really worried at the start. But I actually really haven't had any one person here that was completely against cannabis and didn't believe a word that I said. But besides that,
Yeah,
hundreds of people, because I don't shut up about it at all. Like,
that's good.
well, all I get is support. Like, and it's actually so nice. Like, I just wish it was the same at home. Like, I wish that I could actually have an email acknowledged and that they'd answer my questions. You know, just even give me some sort of indication when I might be able to go home. You know.
Hmm. Yeah, it seems like that meeting today didn't give much hope for you, really, did it?
None. It actually seems like it's further away now because they're completely against it for chronic pain.
Yeah, and what do you think about Gino Kenny's bill when that comes up? Because I thought that that might have even got a mention within the discussion there when they talk about leakage onto the thing. It's just like, well, actually, there's a bill there coming up soon, and it's like it's going to sort out adult access. So leakage then wouldn't be as much of a worry, which means that all of this manpower, all of this energy that they're putting into worrying about leakage, it actually might not be an issue if Gino's bill by some fluke gets actually passed and voted in, you know. Um,
Yeah.
so
I
really,
think
it wouldn't really be a problem, would it?
no, it wouldn't be a problem at all. Like the medical cannabis access program is just not fit for purpose at all. And
No.
I don't think anyone's really going to get access under it. I would just prefer if the bill just passed and they legalized it for anybody that wanted it, you know. Just let people choose. It's fucking ridiculous that it's hard to believe that it's still not even available. Like when you can just go to so many places in America, walk into the shop and buy it yourself, you know.
Yeah, not only America's places across Europe now, even
Yeah.
across the border here in Northern Ireland, there's people who've got private prescriptions for medical cannabis. So it's not that out of like it's out of the ordinary for people to be seeking it. It's just criminal now at this stage that the governments keep these barriers in place that again, as I always say, like it only prevents access to the patients. Some patients access it illegally then, but when I say it prevents access to patients, I mean patients working in a hand with their health professionals, because that's the only way really a patient should have access to a medicine is when working with a health professional, whether that be your GP or even a herbalist. I would always wonder where the herbalists are in the conversation around the use of medical cannabis, but it seems like there's just
They
too
have disappeared into thin air, I think.
yeah, yeah, it just seems like there's too much stigma there for them or something. They just don't want to engage with it. Anytime I've talked with herbalists, it's always been, sure, there's other plants out there that are much better than cannabis. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Come on,
I
like.
haven't come across them yet anyway.
No, I definitely haven't heard that many either. Anyway, nothing like cannabis out there really. Like it's shrouded by controversy and all of this stuff. But really, when you get through, when you get clear the smoke, um, it's just actually a really wonderful plant. And there's just been a lot of lies told about it over the years, unfortunately.
Yeah, I just got an email there or a message there on Twitter by Rachel. She said that her friend was actually told by 3 different pain consultants to try cannabis for her pain because it was less harmful than opioids. So I asked her, did they actually apply for the license? So I'm just waiting to hear back.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
3 different consultants, but they're supporting the black market. Like
Yeah,
if they're telling her to go get cannabis for her pain and not applying for the license for her, like
yeah, that's it. Because again, like they're always like more worried about their own license. Like that they might be able to kind of say it to you, but they won't really be on the record in saying it to you. I know a
yeah,
few people like that now as well who their doctor knows that they use cannabis to treat various conditions, and they're all okay with it. They're like, oh yeah, as long as it's doing you no harm, I'm not going to get in the way. But meanwhile, like, the same doctor can't actually work with that patient. They can't gather
Yeah,
the data as like what dosages are those patients receiving. Do you know that's
yeah,
an incredibly important one, really, is the dosage and the consistency of those dosages, in order for patients to continue to receive the benefits. Because you said, I kind of picked that up a while ago when you were talking about it, like that. Maybe not all of the time when you were getting cannabis in the black market, it was good. That you might have had some. Yeah, you were saying it like some of it was like really brown, and you weren't
yeah.
comfortable with smoking it,
Had to
like.
dump it, like, yeah,
Y-
just had to dump it and then go in, pay another €50 for another 2.5, 3 grams, which is just ridiculous. Especially when you're on like invalidity benefit. It's like, what is it, 100, 200 a week, and then you're paying €100 for a couple of grams of cannabis, and it
Jeez,
might not even work. Yeah,
God,
that's pretty much why we moved. Like, we couldn't keep up with the expense of it. Like,
yeah. And how is life over there outside? I know you miss home an awful lot, but you've been adjusting to life over there.
yeah,
Yeah,
we've met so many nice people that have made it an awful lot easier.
brilliant.
And then when my mom and dad came over, they met our adopted parents that took us in here
Lovely.
as their kids. They're really nice. So
Excellent.
yeah, we've really good friends here, which is nice. But I just love to be able to travel home whenever I want, like, and it's just not possible. You
Yeah.
know, I never thought I'd actually see the day where I wouldn't be able to fly home. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's so backwards, really, when you think about what it is that you have. It's a little piece of plant material that's providing you relief from your chronic pain, and you can't travel back home from it. It's like there's going to be nobody hurt. Just like it.
No. And I have a prescription for the exact same strain that I can get here, and I still can't bring it back with me. I wrote to the Department of Health and I asked them, look, I have the prescription, I have the exact same strain, the exact same strength and everything that I would be getting if it was the Bedrocan
Yeah,
one. Will I be able to bring it home? And they said no. And then I was thinking maybe I should just get some empty Bedrocan containers and throw
and
it
put
into that, and
it.
then it would be perfectly legal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just how are they going to check? Like, it's not as if each piece of cannabis actually has a stamp assigned to it. Like,
No,
no,
that's it.
no, it's so silly. And I suppose really when it comes down to it, it was something I was thinking myself when listening to the health committee discussion earlier today. It's the way in which they want to dispense cannabis. It's only in the interest of these big pharmaceutical companies who can afford to go through these rigorous trials that require like millions of euro, like to get Epidiolex approved to where it is and to be licensed and certified and all of that, like so that they can actually refund it. That's probably one of the few cannabis-based medicines that can actually be reimbursed because it's been backed up by trials.
Yeah,
That costs a lot of money, and it's very hard to actually do that with herbal cannabis because of the nature of herbal cannabis. You can do it at Epidiolex because that's a standardized product, and then you can patent that, you can register that, and you can go off and you can bottle that and sell it. Whereas with the herbal cannabis, as you said there, you could get the same strain over there as what you get your license for. You could probably grow that very same strain yourself,
yeah,
and that's the problem that there lies with cannabis, is that it's just too accessible for anybody to put millions of euro in to see if like Jack Herrera is the strain that's going to treat people's chronic pain. Because as soon
yeah,
as they put the millions into doing that research for that, it's like anybody else can benefit now off of the millions that they spent because they can't patent that strain. They can't
yeah,
patent that work that they done because it's
that's
it's
it.
it's open access. That strain is not theirs as such. So that's the difficulty that's there in getting cannabis-based medicine that has that like licensing that they're looking for from the HPRA. People aren't going to spend that money, and even like
No, they're not.
the likes of myself here in Ireland, I can't do anything. I would love to be able to go out there, set up a company, grow cannabis, get a medicine out of it, work with the state, do it for as cheap as possible, but to a highest standard as possible as well at the same time. But I can't do this. The only thing they're talking about at the moment is importation. There's
Yeah.
no zero talk about domestic production of medical cannabis or cannabis for medicinal
David,
use.
David Cullinan that asked, I think, about whether, I can't remember whether it was him or Cahill Crowe. They asked, was there any plans for to stop importing it and have an Irish homegrown company, and they were just
No.
absolutely shot it down straight away.
Yeah, yeah. No, they don't want to entertain it at all. And you have to wonder why. It was like when they talk about like the cost benefits and stuff like that. Like really, if you were to have it produced here in Ireland, surely that's a better cost. A saver. You know, it's going to reduce the cost. You don't have to deal with the importation and all of that. And even the possibility of having a state-sponsored, companies that actually does the production there for the citizens, because it seems like a lot of people can actually benefit from this here in Ireland, especially when it comes to chronic pain. Anyway.
I think there's about 20% of the population that they say suffer from chronic pain. And it's actually heartbreaking because I know I do the campaigns and stuff to raise awareness, but I get some really, really sad messages as well, from people, and they're just like almost at the point of giving up. They're in that much pain.
Yeah.
And then they say, oh, I can see you in Spain and, you're doing this and you're doing that. And like, what am I supposed to do here? My doctor won't prescribe it for me. And the last thing I want to do is say, go and buy cannabis off the street, like, even though I did it myself. But you don't want to be doing it because you never know what could happen. Somebody could have, a bad batch or something like that. And you want them to get access to proper cannabis, and they could grow it in Ireland if they really wanted to. But I just don't understand it at all.
Yeah, no, I can't understand it. It's such an easy problem that we could be fixing, but it really, again, it all boils down to, for me anyway, in my opinion, I think it comes back to the prohibition of cannabis, is that they want to continue to keep that prohibition in place at all costs, and that being, the cost of even your own ability to live at home. The state don't really jump. It's like, no, that's a price that we're willing to pay. We're willing to have people have to leave the country in order to continue to keep this failed prohibition in place. And it is a failed prohibition, really, when it boils down to it.
Yeah.
Alicia, I don't have any more questions myself lined up for you, but it's been great to have a chat with you about that health committee discussion this morning. Hopefully very soon we might see some more progress being made here in Ireland. Gino Kenny's bill coming up there now very soon, so hopefully that will get the conversation happening there again, and maybe potentially open up a doorway for you to be able to come home and get access to your cannabis here anyway. Whether that be under the Medical Cannabis Access Program, or whether it be through some sort of other set up club, if Gino was successful.
Yeah,
a big if.
Well, I emailed all the members of the health committee, so if I get anything back, I'll let you know.
Excellent. Yeah, I'll definitely email all of those as well. I actually have
all. Thanks so much for the campaign. Honestly, it's been absolutely amazing, the amount of people that are actually taking part.
No problem at all. No, it's I'm more only happy to do it, and as I say, I'm always thinking of other ways in which we can raise awareness to this campaign, because again, there's no need for you to have to be over there suffering away from all your friends and family back here in Ireland over this plant. It just makes no sense at all to me. I just can't understand it. After being on the receiving end of the criminal side of it, I've been caught with cannabis myself before, and it's like, it doesn't deter me from going back to consuming cannabis. For me, cannabis has by and large been beneficial to my life. Even when I include in there, the downside of being caught with it and criminalized for it, it's like, no, cannabis has definitely grounded me. It's made me a more calmer person. It's enabled me to make better decisions. If it didn't do that, I probably wouldn't have continued consuming it. That was the choice I made with alcohol. I was able to kind of see, hey, when I'm drunk, I don't make good decisions. I've got kids now, I have to be responsible. I'm not going to drink anymore. And this is like, if cannabis caused me problems in life, solely on the use of it, not on any laws in society around it, then maybe I would have gave it up, but it didn't. It didn't cause me any problems at all.
Doesn't it?
No, it does. And I see another chronic pain sufferer out there, Amy Brown. Amy suffers with endometriosis. You're probably aware of Amy's story as well. Another person out there suffering. Unfortunately, she wasn't even able to come to the protest there with us last week because
she was in so much pain.
Yeah, so much pain, and she said it like she had access to maybe a cannabis pessary here. She would have been able to get up and go out and march with us, like, and Amy, and yourself, Alicia, like, you're real warriors out there anyway, because it's not an easy thing to put yourself out there in the public's face like this, and at the same time deal with your condition as well. So thanks very much. It's great to have campaigners out there to be able to support and get behind as well. So, well done yourself as well.
Cheers.
No bother. And I'll just give out the names if anybody wants to get in touch with the people. There was there was Sean Flanagan and Professor Brian Lynch. They were with the HSE. Sean Flanagan was the product or the primary care reimbursement service officer. So he's an important one to get in touch with for people out there, because he's the guy who actually makes the decision to reimburse people or not. And even when he was talking about it, he gave out the 9 criteria there for reimbursing medicines, and having one of the 3 conditions was one of them. So it'd be great if people could get messages off to him out there, because I know there's many people probably in the audience as well who use cannabis to treat conditions outside of those 3. So it'd be great if he could join Alicia there and get some messages off to him. His name is Sean Flanagan. He's the Primary Care Reimbursement Service Officer with the HSE. So he's an important guy there to be communicating with. When when Stephen Donnelly, when he goes out of office, this guy is still going to be there. So this is why it's important to get in touch with these guys. At the Department of Health then, we had Maurice O'Connor, Anne-Marie Seymour and Conor Brennan. These would be 3 important people there as well to get in touch with. Maurice O'Connor is the Research Development and Analytics Secretary. So he'd be an important person as well to get out there, as he's supposed to be the guy in charge of collecting data. And it'd be an important question to ask as to why patients like Alicia are not being worked with. Even patients like Ava, why is their data not being worked with? Why are the consultants so hands off when they're supposed to be hands-on? So they're with the Department of Health. And then the HPRA, Lorraine Nolan, she was the chief executive. She was incredibly worried about the leakage of cannabis onto the market. She definitely is in need of a refresher course on cannabis. It seems like her last outing and educating herself about cannabis was probably when she watched the Reefer Madness movie. I'd say that's probably her only education in cannabis, really. Then you'd Grania Power and Aoife Farrell there as well were in the HPRA. So they were all speaking and contributing there this morning. So if you could, guys, get an email out there and ask some questions of them in support of the Bring Alicia Home campaign and the other patients out there as well, which there are many. So yeah, Alicia, hopefully that helps. Hopefully people have written down those names, and hopefully there'll be many emails going in there over the next few days. And maybe people might include pictures of their walk there as well with those emails.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Excellent stuff. You got much planned so for the rest of the evening outside of tiling your bathroom?
The Manchester United match, that's about it.
Lovely, nice. Yeah, I'm gonna go walk my dogs now, and you get a couple of kilometres in there now as well. I'm not one for watching matches. Sorry.
Another 120 kilometres added there now when Jerry comes back from his cycle with his friend. That's
Jeez.
brilliant.
We'll be back for the Cork by today at the end of the night, so excellent stuff. So Alicia, thanks very much again for taking time out of your day to come and speak with me. And again, I'll continue to raise awareness of the campaign, and sure, we'll stay in touch. I'll be speaking with you again probably Friday evening, sure.
Thanks, Martin. See you later.
Bye, Alicia. Bye. So there we go, guys. That was myself and Alicia Maher there, just having a bit of a discussion about the health committee meeting there this morning. Again, as I say, it was an uninformative event. In fairness, we learned nothing new at all. Maybe some suspicions that we might have had there in the past might have been acknowledged. That being, that they're fearful, that they are prohibitionists up there within the HPRA. Some good questions asked of the witnesses, as they were called there as well, by David Cullinan and some of the other contributors there. But overall, it wasn't a good event. Overall, we learned very little new, nothing at all, if I say at all. And for patients like Alicia, as she said there, it seems like, for her, she feels like the access to cannabis is even further away now for chronic pain sufferers, and that's not good. Yeah, anyway, Amy says a woman in tremendous endometriosis pain was forcefully removed from Tala Hospital by Gardaí because she respectfully refused to leave until she saw a surgical team. That's how patients are treated. She was discharged because her bloods looked okay. That's right, Amy. I seen that post up there as well on Facebook. A lot of people were sharing that around. That was horrible stuff to see. Women definitely don't get proper treatment here. At least some of the problems there that befall women more than men definitely don't get acknowledged. And that was an unfortunate scene of events there. You know, people should be getting access to proper and effective treatments. Papa Gummy Bear, it'll be legalized all right in the next few years as soon as they've it sewn up the way they've everything's sewn up, and the humble Irish citizen will be thankful to have it. And by God, yeah, I just I don't know. I won't be happy anyway. That's for sure. If they wait another couple of years, if they don't do it when Gino gives them the opportunity to do it this time, I think we really have to up our game as a community, as campaigners. Papa Gummy Bear also saying, was it? But the people of Ireland are too busy begging the powers that be for consideration. It didn't work when innocent citizens appealed to the British rule in 1840s. It doesn't work now. Yeah. I'm just going to switch over my camera there, hopefully. 1 second, guys. Hopefully I might come back to you. Fingers crossed. You can still hear me, you just can't see me. Not yet, anyway. Just wanted to get my camera back to looking normal. Oh, well, I'm after ruining the stream now again and after knocking off me camera. What a dumbass. Give me a second. Oh, I'm back. Give me 1 more second there, guys, and I'll get this sorted out. No, it's not going to sort itself out. Feck it. You can just see me on my green screen now for a change. So guys, sorry about messing up the camera there at the end. Not too sure why I decided to do that, but it was annoying me just having to look at the Zoom one. Right, we're going to blaze up another bowl there anyway. I wonder, is that camera going to come back on at all for me? Where is the deck? Where's that? Where is the deck on Jamie? Where's my chat box? I have to change the colour of that writing. The colour of the writing was off actually because of playing the game with Alexis last night. There we go. It's back to black. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that one. As I say, apologies for not giving the proper 420 news today, but I believe after that appalling feckin' discussion this morning by the Health Committee, I believe that was worthy of changing things up for today's 420 news and getting Alicia in just to have a chat with her as to how she felt afterwards as a patient, you know, after listening to that. I know Vera Toomey put up a comment there afterwards saying that she felt like crying watching it. Grief Havoc. Who's Alicia? Grief Havoc. Search hashtag bring Alicia home and you learn all about Alicia. Sorry again about the camera issue there, guys. That's my bad. I shouldn't have messed around with that. Where the deck is young Jamie? Young Jamie, where are you? Alicia Maher is after commenting out there as well, saying thanks so much for having me on and for all the comments. Yeah, a lot of good, very nice comments coming in there as well throughout the show, guys. So thanks very much for that. I didn't want to upset the flow of the conversation and be like thanking you as they were coming in, but no, we definitely seen a lot of comments coming in. So thanks for that, guys. Pappy Gummy Bear saying my ex had severe endometriosis, got all help through the private system. That's bad for him, isn't it, really? Sorry, still trying to fucking salvage this video. Don't know why it's not going to come on. Darn it, anyway. Silly me. Right, guys, sorry for fecking around with the camera. I'm going to just put this one up here now. There we go. Boom. What's that, you feckless Egypt, Martin? John, it's all your fault, John. You kept me up too late with all your comments last night, boy. Your chroma key needs adjusting too, Martin. Yeah, I know. I kind of seen that one as well. I was just fucking, yeah, I could add it in there now as well, I suppose. Here we go. Change to porno behind ya. No thanks, man. Sure, we have to keep it PG, boy. There we go. Boom. Now he's a floating head. Woo. Yeah. Sorry again, guys. Apologies. I shouldn't have messed around with the camera there a few minutes ago, but yeah, as you do. Do the green t-shirt next time, Martin. Not a bother at all, guys. I'll get a floating head on here one of the days. Grief Havoc says, keep fighting for human rights, guys. Thanks. Not a bother at all, Grief Havoc. Skatana saying they adjourn the meeting until next week. That gives us time to influence the folks on the panel. That's right. Definitely, Skatanist. People should definitely engage with them. Also, Skatana saying if he's willing to engage with more patients, I feel like he can become a supporter. Namagar on. Yeah, your chroma key needs adjusting. Nice one. Sorted that. Who else is out there? Which city is your background? That's Cork City. That's Cork City's. Yeah, we're looking at the Shannon there. That's the one with the fish up on top of it. And then just looking over the city then. If it's not broken, don't try to fix it. Yeah, Paddy J, a bit too late for that one anyway. I fecked up. Right, we've an old bowl here. We'll blaze one up. We'll chop that interview up there with Alicia. We'll release that as a podcast in an audio only format. I don't normally do that with the 420 news, but I believe for this one being a special, I'll certainly do that. So for anybody out there who likes to listen to the audio only, that will be released there maybe later this evening. Yeah, we've a penthouse suite, alright. But the view is just too good from the penthouse. I don't want anybody to be seeing that. So we went and just got one with a drone instead. The drone one's not as good. Like the penthouse suite was much nicer. Alright, so guys, I'm gonna have to bounce on out there because I gotta go and yeah, collect my daughter from after school activities. Who else is out there though? 999 saying, any chance you could wish happy birthday to my friend Oshin? He's turning 21 and is a huge fan of yours. Well, happy birthday, Oshin. If I didn't have to run, I would sing you a song, but unfortunately, I'm gonna have to bounce on. So yeah, that last ball was for you, Oshin. So happy birthday, buddy. Hope you have a good one. And always remember, age is just a number. Lovely. Right, so guys, nice one everybody for your time this evening. Sorry for having the runaway there at short notice, but it's been a great crack there. I really enjoyed that chat with Alicia. I'll be back with more 420 news on Friday. We'll actually cover the news on Friday. But until then, guys, stay blazed, keep it lit. Bye bye. Peace.